Coming soon to own on video and DVD.
Hi guys, G264 here, and today we're going to be talking about DVDs that still have not gotten Blu-ray releases. More particularly, we're going to be talking about DVDs that I own that have still have not gotten Blu-ray release. I haven't been able to upgrade. The bottom two shelves back there are DVDs. I very rarely ever put them in. I have not put a DVD in a player in almost a year. It's been a while because, you know, the compressed audio and video for DVDs, you know, an up converter can only do so much to salvage that. But regardless, I keep them on my shelf because they have not gotten Blu-ray releases for the most part. About half of what I got back there not had Blu-ray releases, and the other half are just stuff I haven't upgraded. So I'd rather have it on my shelf than not have it at all. You know, I'd rather have a DVD than not have the movie at all. And these movies in particular that I pulled off have not had Blu-ray releases. I don't know if we're going to get Blu-ray releases of any of these movies. I think several of these movies are pretty big budget movies that I would have expected that there to be a Blu-ray release of. Now, I'm not really sure why there isn't. Various reasons, I'm sure, for each one of these, because they're from all different studios. But today, I'm going to go through my DVDs, and none of these have had Blu-ray releases, and we're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about them today. So first up, I want to talk about this because this actually did get a Blu-ray release. It got a Blu-ray release this month, January 2022. I had already pulled this off to do this video before finding out that this was releasing, and that is Nickelodeon movie Clock Stoppers. Clock Stoppers was just released on Blu-ray this month. I have not upgraded. I don't know how often I would watch this. But it's nice that Nickelodeon is starting to roll out their movies. Good Burger was released, and there's another Nickelodeon movie I'm going to talk about that I really do hope they release a Blu-ray of, because that's when I would definitely buy. Clock Stoppers, not a bad movie. I just don't know if I care enough to get the upgrade to Blu-ray. Now, this next one is a Nickelodeon movie that definitely needs a Blu-ray release. I would buy the Blu-ray release. You get Nickelodeon, Paramount, release this on Blu-ray. I need to buy it. I need to watch it. I have not seen it in a while, and I want to watch it in HD quality. Please, release this on Blu-ray. Can you guess what it is? It stars Chevy Chase. It's a Nickelodeon movie. If you grew up in the 90s, the peak Nickelodeon era, you'd know what this is. It is Snow Day! Yes!
For a snow day.
Yes! Snow day, snow day, snow day! No school, no school, no school!
Snow Day. Snow Day deserves a Blu-ray release. No Blu-ray release for Snow Day. Great cast, very fun. This just is peak Nickelodeon. Like, this was released when this has the vibe of Nickelodeon, the fun of Nickelodeon, what it was like to be a kid. Every snow day that I would actually have, we'd go out, have fun all day in the snow, come back in, and then watch Snow Day. Because Snow Day is a great movie. I love this movie. This movie still holds up. I watched this a little over a year ago, and now I just want to watch it again. This reminds me of my childhood, and it's a really fun movie. Next up is a comedy starring Damon Wayans, and it is based on the Adam West Batman, Blankman.
Look! I'm a crime fighter!
I really liked Blankman. I remember when the first time I saw this on TV back in the day, I was like, what is this? This is really funny. This is actually really good. It's serious at times. It's funny at times. I think it does a really good job of balancing those two. It's funny most of the time, but there are very serious scenes in this. And it's really funny if you've never seen it. This was well before Mystery Men, kind of riffing on it. Not a straight comedy. And it's really good. Why is there no Blu-ray release of Blankman? We need to get that out there. This is a DVD that I just don't know how there's no Blu-ray for this. This is Mike Judge. This is Idiocracy. You know, a lot of us feel like we're living it these days. When you look at some of the people around, you're like, what? Really? Okay. Yeah, Idiocracy needs a Blu-ray release. If nothing else, it needs to start hyping up Brondo.
Rondo the Thirst Mutilator had come to replace water virtually everywhere.
We all remember Brondo, right?
What are electrolytes? Do you even know?
It's what they used to make Brondo.
The other thing with Idiocracy is that I feel like in today's internet culture, this is referenced a lot. This is talked about a lot. It's memed a lot. You got Terry Crews as President Camacho, this wrestler. Oh yeah! I mean, how is that not of a Blu-ray release? Like, definitely get that out on Blu-ray and capitalize on that. This one is another nostalgia pick. Most of these are nostalgic movies because these are movies that I got on DVD back in the day, that I kind of grew up on and that kind of thing. But this one in particular holds a special place in my heart, and that is Crocodile Hunter Collision Course. The movie itself is not really all that good. Whenever I do watch it, I just like to watch Steve Irwin do his thing. And those parts of the movie are really good. I remember seeing this in theaters when it was released because I loved Steve Irwin, Crocodile Hunter. That enthusiasm cannot be replicated by anybody ever. And yeah, man, it's just, whenever I go back and watch this, I really wish that not only would they release this on Blu-ray, it's a big budget movie, okay? And people have really fond memories of Steve Irwin, Crocodile Hunter. So why would you not put this on Blu-ray? And even more than that, I wish they would go back and pull some of his old specials and some other stuff from Animal Planet and Discovery. He did a lot of specials. I've got a lot of them on DVD that I ripped from VHS that I recorded back in the day. But really low quality. I would love like a better HD quality of some of his old documentaries, his specials, and this movie, because I would buy it. Crocodile Hunter is the GOAT. The GOAT. Next up is something that touts itself as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles meets Home Alone, and that is Three Ninjas. Yeah, three ninjas. Oh man, this is the original. They've made 4 of these Three Ninja movies. They made 2 with the original kid actors. There was Kickback, where they went to Japan, and the only kid actor who came back for that was Colt. And then they did High Noon and Mega Mountain with Hulk Hogan and a hairpiece. And that was a terrible movie. If you want to watch a terrible movie with your friends that you can make fun of, watch High Noon and Mega Mountain. It's that thing deserves to be on Mystery Science Theater, a Riff Tracks or something. It is hilarious. Maybe it already has. If it has, I wouldn't be surprised. But the original Three Ninjas, it's nostalgic. I grew up watching Three Ninjas. You know, ninjas were the thing in the 90s, okay? There was Power Rangers, there was ninjas, there was all kinds, surf ninjas, there was Three Ninjas, Beverly Hills Ninjas. Anything that they can slap ninja on, they're going to do it. And anyway, you can actually find a decent quality, or I don't know if it's straight HD or not, but it's certainly better than the DVD rip of Three Ninjas on Hulu, I think it was. I watched it with a buddy a couple years ago, and it was an alternate cut. Like, I felt like I was, Mandela effect, because there's a basketball game and they lose the basketball game in the version we watched. In this version, the one I grew up on, and the VHS, they won the basketball game. But if you watch the streaming one, they lose the basketball game, and the ending's different as well. And I was like, I feel like I fell into a black hole or something, because I know this is not how this movie goes. So again, Three Ninjas. I would also include the other ones as well, but this is the only one I actually own on DVD. I do have the other ones on VHS somewhere. Who knows where they went. And a movie based on a TV show, because that's a thing that happened and still happens. But this is one of the earlier ones, and that's the Beverly Hillbillies. It's actually not that bad. It's actually not that bad. There are some funny parts in this. Jim Varney, who you would know from the Ernest movies, plays Jay Clampett. And yeah, there's actually parts of this that are pretty funny. I think this is actually a pretty decent movie, especially since it's based on a TV show, 5 decades earlier. But yeah, I don't know if I'd buy a Blu-ray of this or not. I might. Again, it's a pretty good movie. Next up is probably my favorite movie out of the stack that I have here. Arguably my favorite movie, and that is Dennis the Menace. Yes, the original one. This still holds up. It's actually on Netflix right now. You can watch it. I would recommend watching it. And it's an HD version. So there is an HD version of this movie that exists. Christopher Lloyd as the bad guy in here. The kid who plays Dennis the Menace does a really good job. And Walter Matthau as Mr. Wilson is really great as well. Really fun movie. Like, it still holds up, like I said. Highly recommend it. The other thing with Dennis the Menace is I don't know why there's several movies that have HD versions you can get on streaming, but there's still no HD release of it. There's no Blu-ray releases of some of these. It's kind of crazy. That is the case with several of these movies as well. Next up is a Disney movie with Disney. You know, I know Disney doesn't really like to support physical media anymore, so we're probably not going to get a Blu-ray release of this movie. But I think this is a really good movie, especially in regards to Disney live action movies. And that's Bruce Willis in The Kid. This was actually a really good movie. Again, still holds up. I recently watched it. Well, I wouldn't say it's recently. I watched it within the last year. I call that recently from where I'm sitting. But anyway, still holds up. Very nice movie. Just character-focused movie. And if you've never seen it, I would recommend it. But no Blu-ray release of The Kid. It's even got Bruce Willis in it. How is there no Blu-ray release for that? That's crazy. Next up is another Disney movie, live action. I actually got several of them here, believe it or not. And this one is one of the ones I remember really well when I was a kid, and that is Tall Tale. I actually do think this is on Disney Plus. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on it, but I think it is. And it might be an HD version. I don't know. Who knows? But I would recommend this if you've never seen it. I grew up on this. It has Patrick Swayze as Pecos Bill, John Henry and Paul Bunyan, these mythical heroes of the frontier, and this kid. And, you know, it's basically treats them like, you know, they're superheroes, the OG superheroes. And this type of movie you're not going to probably see made today because, you know, the current superheroes are, you know, Iron Man, Superman, Batman, and I'm a geek and I own all this stuff. I own a bunch of comics, so I get it. But at the same time, we can't forget like the original folk heroes, like what we're talking about here. So Tall Tale's actually a pretty good movie if you've never seen it. And again, surprised there's no Blu-ray release. All the Disney ones, I think I'm the most surprised there's no Blu-ray release of. And another Disney movie, I used to think this was like the cheapo version of Richie Rich. It's a Disney movie. Can you guess what it is? Blank Check. Yeah, I kind of considered this like the discount Richie Rich movie when I was a kid. Still fun, still enjoyable. Anytime you give a kid, you know, a bunch of money in a movie and you see what he spends it on, it's just kind of fun. It's a wish fulfillment for kids to watch things like this where you just buy whatever you want. Yeah, not a bad movie, a fun little movie. I still think that the Richie Rich with Macaulay Culkin movie is probably better than this. I'm sure some people out there might disagree. But Blank Check was a fun movie. This one's Daniel Stern in Bushwhacked. Yes. Again, a pretty funny movie. I watched it on TV back in the day. It kind of feels a little bit like a TV movie. It is kind of hard to believe this was released in theaters. It's always weird when you look at some of the movies that were released in theaters and you're like, I don't know if that's good enough for a theater release. Of course, what they do now and what they've done in the last 10 years, the theaters and the movies that get put in the theaters have continually evolved. But Bushwhack's a pretty fun movie. And here's another Disney movie. I thought I had all Disney movies together. Well, Bushwhacked somehow got stuck in the middle there. This one, it was the last DVD that I bought. I bought it a little over a year ago. Again, this is the last DVD I bought. I really wanted to watch this. It's not on Disney Plus. This is a Disney live action movie that's not on Disney Plus or any other streaming service. As far as I know, there's no HD version of it. And if you grew up in the 90s, you know exactly what this is. Another Christopher Lloyd movie, Angels in the Outfield. How is there no Blu-ray release of this? This is like one of the biggest sports movies of the 90s, and there's no HD release of it. How is it not even on Disney Plus? it makes me wonder maybe what happened with the original film. Maybe it got degraded or lost, and that's the reason there's no upgrade of this movie, because this seems like this should be a big release for Angels in the Outfield. Again, one of the biggest sports movies of the 90s, a big Disney live action movie. It was a big hit, and people remember it. So I bought this, and it's got fake widescreen. I was so disappointed. For anybody who is unaware, a lot of the DVDs, so as DVDs were coming out, there was the widescreen format became more and more popular as widescreen televisions. You kind of transition from the full screen to the widescreen, and what a lot of the formats would be messed up, and it'd be fake widescreen. And fake widescreen, what you got is bars on the top, which is supposed to create the widescreen format, but you also had bars on the side in this whenever the formatting wasn't done correctly. So you literally have a box instead of an actual widescreen shot. And that's what this is. Very disappointing. So I still have not been able to watch Angels in the Outfield. I should have just returned this thing. Another Disney live action movie that technically had a Blu-ray release, but didn't as well. And I'll explain that right now. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Again, one of the biggest Disney live action movies. No Blu-ray release. Technically there was a Blu-ray release of this. It was a Disney Club exclusive, and if you're not part of the Disney Movie Club, then you couldn't get it. So, assuming you can actually find a copy, probably on eBay, they're probably going for nutso amounts. And you can actually watch it on Disney Plus, so that's nice. But at the same time, it's a movie from my childhood. I would like to upgrade to a Blu-ray, but I guess that's not going to happen. Next up, there's a couple movies that you probably never heard of, but I want to talk about them because these are off my shelf. These are movies that I have that I actually do like that do not have Blu-ray releases. One is a small movie called The Final Season, which had Sean Astin, and it was a nice small sports movie in this nice small town. And I like that kind. I like movies that take place in like small town, give you the small town feel and vibe. And it's just about this baseball team that is going away because they're merging schools with another town that's further out away, and they're making one super school. And it's just, I don't know. It's just a nice movie. You know, sometimes you just like to watch a nice movie. I thought The Final Season was a nice movie. It came out when I worked at Blockbuster. Otherwise, I never would have seen it. And yeah, fun movie. This one is another movie that came out when I worked at Blockbuster. The only reason why I own it and know about it, and that's Flash of Genius. Again, I don't think anybody ever talks about this movie. It had Greg Kinnear, and it's this guy who created the automatic windshield wipers, and basically how car companies tricked him and stole him out of his idea and didn't give him any money, and him suing them. That's what that movie's about. So it's kind of cool. You can kind of put yourself, if you're an inventor or you've created anything, and just imagine that whatever it is that you put your blood, sweat, and tears and your thought and your creation into, and then it was completely stolen from you. You can identify with that. Next up is a movie called Project Alf. Probably nobody remembers this movie. It was a TV movie that released a couple years, I don't know exactly how many years, but a couple years after the television show Alf. Does anybody remember Alf? Probably. Alf, I think, is still a pop culture phenomenon, regardless of the fact he hasn't been around. Anybody from the 80s and 90s definitely knows who Alf is. I always liked him because he ate cats. But Project Alf was just a TV movie that kind of concluded the series, because in the final episode, kind of spoilers, but it's been out for 3 decades if you haven't seen it. In the final episode of Alf, the government takes him away from the family he's living with in the show, and you never find out what happened. This movie, Project Alf, answers that question. And I haven't seen it in a very long time. It was okay. It literally is a TV movie. So if you go into it with the expectation of, hey, this is a TV movie, or for younger people might not know exactly what a TV movie is, just imagine a movie that's not very good, doesn't have that much money in it, And so it gets put on. Imagine $5 bin at Walmart. That's the closest thing I think I can come up with for it. Next up is a Robin Williams movie that hasn't been released, and that is Jack. Yeah, it's definitely one of Robin Williams' weaker movies, but I always remember this. I'm not really sure why, but I do remember Jack. Again, it's not the greatest Robin Williams movie, but I'm just surprised that it hasn't had a Blu-ray release. Next up is a documentary, one of my favorite documentaries. For those on the channel know that I do have a small collection of documentaries and like talking about documentaries when I get the chance. And that is King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters. A funny movie, a great movie, great documentary that the story continues far past the documentary. You need to look online to see all of the stuff that happened afterward. They could do a sequel to this with the amount of material that is and story that's happened after this documentary about this guy just trying to get the top record high score on Donkey Kong, the arcade cabinet. And yeah, I would recommend it if you haven't seen it. A lot of eccentric characters and kind of fighting the system and just this little niche corner of the arcade society. It's very interesting and fun. I've watched it many, many times over the years. Next up is a movie that is an animal movie, because there's a lot of those in the 90s. And this is a trilogy pack of Free Willy, Free Willy 2, and Free Willy 3. Again, very, very familiar to kids from the 90s. The whale jumping over the rock, iconic scene, Michael Jackson song, very 90s if you go back and watch it. The first one has been released on Blu-ray, but it's been out of print for a very long time. Matter of fact, I looked on eBay just to see how much it was going for, if you could even find the Blu-ray release, and they've been selling for like $80, $90. That's insane. $80, $90 for Free Willy on Blu-ray. Craziness. I don't recommend that. The first one is on Netflix. I don't know if the sequels are or not, but the first one is really the one to watch. And I'm glad I have the DVD. It's better than nothing, but again, I don't put in the DVD very often. It would be nice if they, would put the Blu-ray back out for Free Willy. Another animal movie here, and that is Andre, which this one has a seal in it. Animal movies and sports movies were the thing of the 90s. Every 90s kid will attest to that. If there was a sport to be covered, they would cover it. If there was an animal, they would have an animal movie about it. If they could put the animal in the sports movie, that's what they would do. So Andre, again, this one I think is a little bit more serious than a lot of the animal movies. From what I remember, I haven't seen it in a very long time. But it's a little bit more drama based than a lot of these animal movies tended to be. So that's what I remember about it anyway. And the other animal movie here, because I have 3 of them. This one has an orangutan and a hotel and Jason Alexander. Can you guess what it is? Dunstan checks in. Again, another one of these that this would like it. When you watch it, you're like, this is a Disney movie, right? It's not a Disney movie. It's a 20th Century Fox movie, but it feels like it would be a Disney movie. Not bad. There's actually a lot of funny parts on this. Pee Wee Herman's in this. Yeah, Pee Wee Herman's in Dunstan Checks In. I completely forgot about that. But yeah, it's kind of a fun movie. When I was a kid, I was always fascinated by like hotels and people coming and going, and all these people from all over the country and all over the world. When you stay in, I've never stayed in a hotel as nice as the one in this movie. Not even close. Crazy. Now moving into some animated movies. Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, voiced by Tim Allen. Voiced by Tim Allen, okay? It's voiced by Tim Allen because Tim Allen is the voice of Buzz Lightyear. The Lightyear movie's coming out this year. The animated Lightyear movie. The 3D animated Lightyear movie that's supposed to be like the realistic take on Lightyear. And they don't have Tim Allen voicing him. Sorry, I just wanted to rant about that for a second. What a ripoff. Get Tim Allen to voice Buzz Lightyear. He is the voice. Don't replace him with Chris Evans. Are you serious? That's Captain America. That's not Buzz Lightyear. Anyway, this was an animated movie. There was an animated TV show as well. The animated TV show never had a DVD release or anything. You can't find this really very often. I haven't seen it in forever. I don't know if it's a DVD, so it's, obviously why would I have seen it? But it's actually a pretty fun little movie, and Tim Allen voices Buzz Lightyear as it's supposed to be. This one, man, you gotta love that art. That is art by Alex Ross, one of my favorite comic book artists, and it still has the sticker on here, $7.99, because I got this at Blockbuster when I worked there. There are several other Marvel animated movies back there that have not had Blu-ray releases as well, but I didn't want to make the video too long. I think it's already going to be long enough with the stack that I have, so I just wanted to pick Planet Hulk because this one is the best out of those Marvel ones. This is what Thor Ragnarok should have been. Thor Ragnarok should not have had... You should have just done a Planet Hulk movie, okay? Watch this and tell me that you would not have rather have seen a Planet Hulk movie instead of Thor Ragnarok. I'm just going to say that. And no Blu-ray release for Planet Hulk. This one was one from when I was a kid. I did buy it. I haven't watched it. I don't know if I will or not. But when I was a kid, I loved this, and that was DuckTales. And this was Treasure of the Lost Lamp. And I remember watching it a lot whenever I was a kid, so I bought it when it came out on DVD. It was been a long time ago at this point. No Blu-ray release of this either, but I think it's on Disney Plus, and it might have a better version. A lot of these that are on Disney Plus, I don't know what kind of version it is now. This one definitely needs a Blu-ray release. Technically, it did have one. Again, it was another Disney Movie Club exclusive Blu-ray release, but it needs to be a mainstream release, and that is a Goofy movie. Again, this is great. This is so much better than it has any right to be. I'd love to just do a review on a Goofy movie. There's so many funny parts in this movie that crack me up every time. I don't care how old I get, I'm gonna find it funny. Like when Max just hits that possum in the face.
Now you feel all good inside. Beat it, doofus.
Just so good. I met Bill Farmer, who's the voice of Goofy, and I got a little Goofy movie poster signed by him. One of my favorite people to meet at a convention, and yeah, Goofy movie is so great. The songs are great. I have soundtrack on my phone so I could listen to it. Goofy movie, man. I bet every 90s kid out there remembers a Goofy movie. This is, well, actually, these are in the wrong order. We're going to go with this one. First up is Wild Thornberrys, back to Nickelodeon. No Blu-ray release of this. It's one of the, well, it's probably because SpongeBob came out. When SpongeBob came out, all the Nicktoons died because they just put all of their money into advertising SpongeBob, it seemed. But Wild Thornberrys was a fun little show, and the movie's actually pretty good. And with that, there was also the Rugrats met him once, and Rugrats Go Wild. It exists. There's no Blu-ray of it. And finally, this one is extreme. This is actually very hard to find, and I had no idea that this was a hard one to find, but it is. And that is Digimon the movie. Yes. Man, I'm more of a Digimon fan than a Pokemon fan, by the way. When I was a kid, I preferred Digimon to Pokemon all day. Digimon had a much better story than Pokemon. The movie's kind of mixed, and as I got older and figured out how they made the movie, they just, made a couple animated short movies into one American movie and tried to make it make sense, even though they weren't supposed to be tied together in the first place. But anyway, the Kids in America song, the music video, is on this, and that's probably what a lot of people remember about this. This was actually released in theaters. Pokemon the movie's the only reason why they made this and put it out in theaters. It's kind of fun, but I would much rather just sit down and watch the Japanese version because I've never actually seen it, as opposed to watching this movie. But anyway, very hard movie to find. I don't know why there's not a Blu-ray release. Release the Blu-ray and then tack on the original Japanese short movies as an add-on, and you'll get a lot of buyers for this. So that's it, guys. That's my stack of DVDs that I pulled off of my shelf that still have not gotten Blu-ray releases. And then most of them, I think, deserve Blu-ray releases. Not all of them, probably. I don't necessarily think a lot would sell. But as far as my favorite ones out of here, the top ones that I really, if I had to like narrow it down and pick, is Goofy Movie. Definitely needs one. Idiocracy. How does this not have one? Blankman. Again, really funny. Snow Day. Yes. Give me Snow Day. That should be next on Nickelodeon. After Clock Stoppers, give me Snow Day. Dennis the Menace. There's already an HD version out there on Netflix, so put it out on Blu-ray. Angels in the Outfield, because this version of the DVD that I got sucks. And King of Kong Fistful of Quarters, because it's one of my favorite documentaries, and I'd like to see a Blu-ray of it. Now, that's just what I have off my shelf. There's lots of other movies, that have not had Blu-ray releases. A lot of big movies like The Abyss and True Lies. Some movies that I actually do have a DVD of, but I forgot to include it on here. Titan AE. That needs a Blu-ray release. It was actually a really good movie. Astronaut Farmers, one that is actually pretty decent, that doesn't have a Blu-ray release, that again, I have the DVD somewhere. Don't know where it is. Cocoon. I would really like a Blu-ray release of that. Both of those movies, Cocoon and Cocoon Returns, are actually pretty good movies. Little Giants, another one of those 90s sports movies, kids sports movies that I think needs a Blu-ray release. It's actually pretty good. And Surf Ninjas. Yes, I mentioned ninjas in the 90s. Surf Ninjas. Give me Surf Ninjas, okay? I got the VHS back there on my shelf. I thought about pulling it off just to show it to you guys, but I didn't want to get up because I'm lazy. But anyway, what are some DVDs on your shelf that have not had Blu-ray releases, or maybe you haven't upgraded? What other movies are you waiting for a Blu-ray release of? And do you think James Cameron's movies like True Lies and The Abyss are ever going to get a Blu-ray release? Well, they'd probably be 4K at this point. But that'd be nice. That'd be nice. So yeah, again, lots of movies that haven't had Blu-ray releases. As physical media starts to become more of a niche thing, which I hate to admit, but it is becoming more of a niche thing. I'm not sure how many of these movies we're actually going to get physical media of, Blu-ray releases of, but it would be nice. It would be nice. So I want to thank everybody for joining me today. Thank you, subscribers, because you guys are awesome. And if you like this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff, or don't. I'm not a beggar. I'm D264, and I always tell you the truth.